Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Bird's Nest. If you're a first time with us, you're in for a treat. You're actually in for somebody that I met probably 2.5, 3 years ago now. Kyle Adams from Vanta. Back then, it was why did he get into sales and how did he explore it and why was he, doing so well? And then, some things turned in his life. Medically, I'm happy to say he's doing very well. I'll let him tell the story, but the story of his mental toughness, I literally went to Kyle and said, "We have to do this." So Kyle Adams, man, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Dave. Happy to be here and always a pleasure to chat. I know it's been a minute since we
Been a
last
minute.
spoke, so I'm just happy to chat with you, man.
Been a
You're
minute,
always a
man.
good
Look,
time.
I want to get into this, and when you and I talked, like literally it was you're advancing, you came and you're crushing, we talked sales and all that, fun stuff and how you got into sales in your childhood and what took you there. And then, things changed, right? And let's just start there.
Yeah, I'm happy.
When did you know when did you know that things changed? Like when did you know, hey man, this is more than just a pain in my side or something that's, local.
Yeah, so it all started back in December of 2022. So I got some stabby pain. It actually happened at the the big one was at the Georgia Ohio State game. So I was still happy because Georgia won the game and all that. But no, I had some food and then like started feeling some stabby pain, thought it was potentially acid reflux, but it was a little bit worse than usual. So that happened that day. And then a couple weeks later, I ate some normal food and then it just progressed and got worse and worse. And the pain just like referred from my back and into my stomach. And it reached a point, in early 2023 where I pretty much just stopped eating food. Very quickly went from 215 pounds down to about 185, 190. Doctors did an endoscopy. It looked normal. So they're like, we don't think it's acid reflux. They did some CT scans and MRIs that were normal. And they're like, well, we don't really see anything. So, don't really know what to tell you. It just progressed, right? Like I was on a very, very low fat diet and just drinking minimal food. And like I kind of had I mean, this is crazy, but like Chat GPT, I put my symptoms in. It's like maybe pancreatitis. And I kept telling the doctors, and they're like, no, we don't necessarily think it's that. Like it would have shown on a CT scan. I was like, well, it actually says here that it probably wouldn't maybe show on a CT, but they were like, no, we're the doctor. So I mean, it took a really long time to figure it out. And even in the middle of 2023, I mean, I went to the hospital and I was probably 70 pounds below in like a matter of 6 months. And
Wow.
the doctor put me on a feeding tube because they were like, man, like we don't really know 100% what's wrong, but like we need to put you on a feeding tube if you can't eat. And like I don't know when that happened, I mean I broke down and it was a situation where I was like, man, like is my life over? Like I don't know what it's going to come to, but that actually ended up being the biggest blessing in my life. I gained a lot of weight back. Reached out to some people on Facebook to figure out which doctors would actually take me a little bit more serious. Came across like Virginia had a really good pancreas center, so I actually used my sales skills to reach out to the CEO of the hospital, and he emailed me back in like 15 minutes and said, hey, we're going to get you up here. And he was actually a pancreas surgeon in the past. So he was like, oh, yeah, your story sounds very similar to a lot of people. So then they flew me up to Virginia, did some more thorough testing to look at the pancreas a little bit better. And then from there, they're like, oh, yeah, like your pancreas has damage. And in that moment, I felt validation, but also like, wow, like now I start Googling chronic pancreatitis and see out like life expectancy a lot shorter and some of those things. But at one point, I was even looking at potentially doing like a surgery to remove it. And that's a 15-hour surgery. I was probably just a couple weeks from doing that. But being on the feeding tube for so long, I was able to gain back a lot of the weight. I started even working out, going to the gym. And I was like, man, like pass this surgery and just like overcome this. And I was on the feeding tube until about 2025. And during the time there was some flare-ups and some issues for sure. But at some point I started being able to eat more and more food, gradually built it up, learned pretty fast what were my triggers, which is like fatty foods, so no hamburgers or steaks or anything like that, or ice cream. Now I'm hungry a little bit, but I'll probably skip that. But at some point, just reach a point where like I was able to get the feeding tube removed, and like, it's been almost a year about since I've had the feeding tube removed, and I've actually even moved to Atlanta, Georgia now, and left Athens. And yeah, man, it's I mean it's a crazy story. When I was 27 years old, I never thought I would be sick. I thought I was an invincible person, and now here I am at 30, and I know that, I mean, at any point, like I could get really sick again. Like, so I don't take anything for granted, and I try to live every day the most that I can, right? And like when I go back to who I was in 2022 and look at back at some old pictures, it's like I looked worse then. In some ways, I'm healthier now, and I think a lot of it goes back to realizing like health is wealth, and I'm going to control my health the best that I can. But that's a high level story. You probably have some
High
questions.
level, and I have 18
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah.
right? So let's just take this piece by piece. When you end up at, I guess, when you're trying to convince the doctors, and you're calling Virginia and you're calling around, there's got to be a point there where you are at, I don't want to say a low point, but that's got to be, you're in immense pain. You don't really know what it is. You've lost 50, 60, 70 pounds. Your life, were you still working at that point?
I was
Trying
able to
to?
work. Yeah, I was able to work until about middle of 2023, and then very fortunate, Vanta let me take a full medical leave for a year or so.
I
Very blessed in that
I was
sense.
just going to say, to to them and to provide the support, and I know you said it as well, but for Vanta to give you that support, to bring you back. By the way, congrats on the promotion, right,
Thank
into a
you.
manager leading a team now, right? Says a lot, right? So I did want to shout them out for that, so that's incredible. But there must have been a point of time, and I guess maybe it's when they found, like you said, when they found the damage. Because I guess along the way you're like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe chat, maybe
Yeah.
it's nothing. Maybe it'll go away. Maybe I'll gain the weight back. And all of a sudden, the really smart people who specialize literally in that organ go, no, man, there's a problem. And
Yeah.
now so from that mindset, you said that validation, but you also said I broke down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think you had your parents with you. Is that right? Were they,
Yeah.
they're helping as well?
Yeah, no, I mean, once again, like very, very blessed in the sense of like my mom and dad have always been the most supportive people in my life. And like when this all went down, like, I mean, without them, I probably wouldn't be alive if I'm being honest. So yeah, I mean, I owe them everything
You
for
think
sure.
it was that big? You think, I mean, they were 100%. Did they push you to go see Virginia? Was that what it was? Do you think, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty big statement to say, hey, I wouldn't be here without him. You think they just pushed you to do it?
Well, I think having support when you're going through, I mean, the fact I was able to move home, and the fact that they would take me to doctor's appointments, and the mental health is not great, right? Like I think
Yeah.
like over the course of 2023, especially like middle of 2023, I think I was at the lowest point where like I was barely eating, and I don't think if I had support, I don't know where I would be, right? Like so
That's
I just owe them all that, and like I seriously don't know where like if I would be alive. So
that's man. I mean, I mean, quite honestly, I didn't expect that, but it speaks to where you were, right? It speaks to how, this was. And I guess from that point, then you start building, right? Like, what was that moment? So now we go, okay, that's that low point. But what was the building? What was that first step you took in, like, all right, man, maybe I can do this? Like, when did it begin to go? When did that pendulum kind of begin to go your way and go up?
yeah, and it actually goes back to being in the support group on Facebook with other people that dealt with pancreas issues, and like a couple of them were living life to the best they could. One of the people was like hiking 14K mountains all the time, and he was, raising money for pancreatitis awareness. And I, kind of just told myself at this point, like, there's a lot of people that choose to let the illness control them, and I mean, a lot of negativity, but then there's always a couple people that are like overcome it, still living their life, hiking big mountains and doing all these things that even normal people probably wouldn't do. And I told myself really like I have a choice. It's like I can choose to push past this and climb the mountain, or I can choose just to give up and be miserable. And I think after being miserable for an extended period of time, it's like, why not try the optimist route and tried that path. And from there, I just realized like, yeah, most days are still tough and I still have a lot of pain. But at the end of the day, like everyone suffers some kind of internal battle or maybe some kind of physical ailment. Mine is different than yours, but everybody overcomes something. And I just told myself like, why can't I overcome this and look, and be like these people climbing mountains and whatnot. I'm like, I'd rather be doing that than the person that's upset and not working all the time. And I made a choice to do that for sure.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So then the feeding tube put in and just so that's surgery and you have to get this put in and then like not to be like just to understand that you're not eating solid food at that time. That is just a, you know, it's just internal, it's going through your body that way. So you don't have the, I don't want to call it the pleasure, the feeling, whatever it is. You can't eat like
Yeah.
solid foods for how long?
Yeah. I mean, a long time, right? Like I
God,
slowly introduced some level of food a little bit into my diet, but there was probably at least a 6 month plus stint
wow.
where I was just. And here's the thing about the pancreas, the feeding tube has to go past the stomach, so it's like it's a slow process. The food is, there's no pleasure from doing it, but at the same time, like the fact I was still gaining weight and like getting nutrition, I think it brought me a lot of happiness and like yeah, like I think when I first had it put in, I was like, man, my life is like, I mean, this is, I don't know what's
Correct.
going to happen. And then after a while, it's like this is actually giving me life. So
Wow.
perspective can definitely change over time.
Dude, I would, just thinking about this, I would sit there and go, man, I'd be so damn pissed off, right? I'd be so damn pissed off. And, but I remember seeing a post, and it's going back years. I wish I could find it, but you were literally sitting there on the post, the typical selfie that, we all kind of like laugh in the gym. But I think you were in your garage or like something like that, like on like a workout bench, sitting there sweaty. And you basically said in the post, hey man, that's cool and all. I got a feeding tube in and I'm working out. Like, what are you guys doing? And I remember reading it and laughing. And I was like, dude, I can't. I was like, I have to go work out. Like I literally have to go do something right now because like when did you take that step? And did you feel your mind getting stronger? Did you feel like, okay, life's not over. Oh, wait a second. And then step by step, you felt yourself getting stronger mentally as well?
Yeah, and I don't think I called people out and said, "Hey, you better like." I think it was more of like, "Hey, you can overcome what
Yeah, no, it
you're
was.
doing."
I was kidding around, but
No, no,
honestly,
no,
I
no.
took
Yeah, I
it.
was calling you out, Dave. If
Oh,
you
I
look back
like
down
I
there.
I literally read it and I was like, Dave, you're like lazy, right? Like literally the man has gone through 2 years of pancreatitis or chronic pancreatitis, and literally I can't go walk 2 miles, right?
Yeah,
And no, you weren't calling people out, but you were saying, hey, or you can overcome what you set your mind to, which is really what I wanted to, just go, right?
100%. And it started, probably maybe a month after the feeding tube was put in. I was starting to get, gain a little bit of weight, and I was like, hey, like I feel good enough to potentially work out. And like, yeah, the doctors would say don't lift heavy weight. I started lifting some heavy weight, and I was probably breaking some of the rules, but like I feel good doing it. And like built up pretty strong and like was doing more weight than what I was doing when I was 30 pounds heavier back in 2022. So like it goes back to like in some ways my health is significantly better now. Like if you look at my blood work and whatnot, it's like, oh, this guy is like really healthy, like I have my Whoop on, I track my steps, and all that stuff. But it's like, I think just after getting the feeding tube, it got better and better and better. And then I got back to a point in middle of 2024 where I went back to work at Vanta and like, still very nervous. I'd taken off a year and like, I still had a feeding tube. I'm like, can I even do this again? And I was like, look, like, this is nothing compared to what I just did. So I took that mentality back to work and then I crushed it from there. And I'm a better seller now than I ever was before I was sick. So
Yeah, so I was going to go there with you, right? And not so much on the sales side, and we can go there if you want, but I guess from a just perspective of life, of waking up every day, right? And you wake up with a whole different perspective right now in terms of what you've been through in the past 4 years, right? How is that? Talk me through that piece, man. How do you view life now versus 4 years ago?
yeah, and I appreciate it more now. I think I think it's very easy when you don't go through a tough time to necessarily appreciate what you have. I was very blessed and fortunate back in even 2022, and I think I didn't necessarily understand that until that is actually taken away from you. Then once something is taken away from you, it reaches a point where it's like, hey, if I'm going to get this back, I'm going to hold on to it because I know that it could potentially leave me at any given point again. So like my whole perspective today and in life is always, now like, hey, like I wake up very blessed. I woke up today like I'm relatively healthy for the most part. Like there's no reason for me to be upset. So like I think my outlook, and if you ask a lot of people who I work with, it's like Kyle is so optimistic and Kyle works so hard. Like, how does he have such a good mentality? It's like, man, like I know it could be gone tomorrow. So I don't take anything for granted anymore. And like, I mean, when I look back at like getting sick, it actually helped my life in a lot of ways. I think it gave me more perspective and like in some ways I'm probably happier than I ever was before.
Wow. I mean, I just want to let that sit in for a second. You're happier than you've ever been before.
Yeah, and I mean there's tough days, right? Like
Yeah.
there's some days where I'm like when it flares up, I'm like, okay, I'm not the happiest I've ever been. But really like you know what? Like everyone overcomes something. This is something that I've had to overcome.
Hmm.
Is every day perfect? No, but like hey, I don't think any life is perfect. And if any life is perfect, then like I'd like to meet that person. Like, hey, how is your life so perfect? Because I
Yeah.
think everyone goes through situations and my situation maybe came earlier than some people. My situation probably looks a lot different. Most people don't have to have a feeding tube, but I mean, there's all kinds of battles that people fight. And like at this point in my life, it's like I'm very appreciative. I just moved into a new apartment. I'm overlooking Atlanta. Like this is, I mean, I'm happy as can be. So
Dude, I mean, look, I remember talking on that podcast and I remember it vividly. And you were just happy. You were at Vanta, you had come in, up and coming, I guess you can say up and coming company back then. I think everybody knows Vanta now, it seems like, right? Um, And I just remember it. And then I remember watching the story and hating it, right? Because I was like, in my head, I'm going, it's not fair, right? Kind of typical stuff. And then I just remember seeing the change and seeing your first day back. I remember like, and then all the positive news now into even getting promoted. Do you share the story much? Does it come up? I mean, are you the kind that hides the story kind of thing? I mean, because you put it out, right, to help
yeah.
people, I know. But in the same sense, I know, for you to do this with me, I know hey, we know each other. And but do you bring it up often, or is it, hey, it's in the background. It's not really, what I want to share, and I will if you ask me, but it's not really who I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've. the people that know me the best definitely know my story. I think a lot of people that I work with know my story. I don't hide it from people, right? If people ask me about it, I bring it up, but it's like it doesn't define me fully, right? Like I think it is something that potentially changed my life and it definitely impacted my life, but like I don't find myself casually bringing it up. Like I have had some people reach out to me with other issues and like say, "Hey, your story resonated and it helped me a lot." And like
Yeah,
when that happens, I try to have a conversation with them and do that. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, maybe it is something I should probably share a little bit more because like, people battle different things, and I think like seeing my battle can help someone else, and I'm more than happy to,
I
take some time out of my day and have a conversation with somebody too.
I would say this, and look, I mean, I didn't know how I knew it was severe. I didn't know how severe until we had this conversation. I didn't realize how much your parents were there for you, or the of kind of where you're at. So to me, it's eye-opening, honestly, in terms of what you went through and kind of how far you've made it back. Um, Looking at it now, would you change anything? Would you go back and say, yeah, man, just take it all. Let me go back. Let me continue my cool run here and just wipe this clean. Would you take it all back and change it, or would you say, you know what, it really provided me, you know, that element of gratefulness and that toughness that I never would have had without it?
Yeah, I I'm s- I mean, the past defines people. Like I wouldn't change it, right? And like, and I really do believe that God put me through this battle for a reason, and like I hold on to that, and like sure, there's some days where I'm like, man, I wish I was like healthy and didn't have this. Like, I mean, sure. I mean, like if you asked me tomorrow, I'd probably say, oh yeah, like I don't want it. I wish I could all be changed. But like at the same time, it's like it's helped me become who I am. It's helped me appreciate life more. And at the end of the day, like who knows where I would be if I didn't have this issue. Like it also led to me finding out that I really enjoy stocks and investing and built up a following with that. And probably why I don't post as much on LinkedIn as I'm on X talking about small cap stocks. But yeah, I mean, it helped me realize I'm passionate about that. It helped me become a better person at my job. I think I'm healthier in a lot of ways physically. So I mean, to answer your question, I wouldn't change it, right? Like
Wow.
it's who I am, and at the end of the day, like the past just makes you a stronger person for the future, and that's the perspective that I have today.
How did it help you at your job? I know being grateful and saying, hey, I can get through this and this really doesn't matter. Is it more than that? Was it, you know, when you came back on day one or that first month or like the end of quarter, your first end of quarter back, did it feel different? Just understanding what you went through and going, all right, like, like we're talking about a signature on a DocuSign. Great, man. I got a feeding tube in. Like, like what you can't really tell me something's going to go wrong here, right? Is
Yeah.
that basically what it was?
It, it goes back to like I lost it. Once you lose something, you realize you can't take it for granted. So like I don't know. I think before, I worked hard, but like
Yeah,
I don't know. There's times where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna let off the gas, and like it's
yeah,
but now when I came back, it's like, yeah, I don't take it for granted because I know this could be gone tomorrow. So like I just appreciate it more, and then my mentality has just been better, right?
yeah,
Like when people say we're not moving forward with you, I'd probably get really upset before, and like I mean I still get a little upset for sure, but it's like I don't know, like everything is in perspective, and I think like having that positive perspective just makes everything better. Like when I look at me coming back to Vanta, like as an IC, I never missed a month, never missed a quarter. Before that, like hit most of the time, miss here and there. And like I really do think my perspective and go overcoming the illness just made me better at what I do. And like, I mean, yeah, like I just appreciate it more. And I think when you appreciate something more, you're better at it too.
dude. I think that's. That's so damn powerful, right? That's so damn powerful that literally, we all say it can be taken away, and we all kind of say it. You lived it,
Yeah.
right? At some point in time, you had to tell your company, hey, I, how's it work for medical leave? I never thought I had to say that at age, 26 or 27, and then to come back on that day one, and I'm sure the Slack messages, please tell me you're a Slack company,
We
please.
are.
Cool.
I only work for a company that has Slack.
Seriously, if your team's out there, then I'm sorry, but on day one to come back and to get the Slack messages must have been, I mean, come on, man. Like that's the kind of stuff that you just live for, right? Like, I mean, that's it. So you did mention, and we'll wrap up here, but you mentioned your faith. Did
Yeah.
that get stronger during this time? Was there a time that it was tested in that process, man?
I mean, it's definitely tested, right? Like I think early on, there's probably many nights where crying and saying, "God, this is ridiculous. Like, how can you do this to me?" And like, I mean, there's many months and many days where that was the case. I think like, my faith with Jesus definitely got stronger though. I think like when you go through all this and really during the comeback up, I was like, man, like I don't even deserve this because like what I was going through and how I was being so negative and resentful to God. Like I mean, I really do think my faith is the strongest it's ever been, and a lot of it is because of going through what I was going through, and then found myself at home with my family, serving on guest services at church and greeting people with a smile. And like, man, like I probably wouldn't be doing that if I was, back in Austin and
Amazing.
didn't go back home to my family. So I mean, at the end of the day, like a lot stronger faith, and a lot of that is because I went through a really tough period, and then I overcame it, and then I realized like, man, like I could have not been here. And like, I mean, at the end of the day, like I believe Jesus Christ and God brought me back up. So I mean, yeah, my faith is definitely a lot stronger.
That's awesome, man. I knew you had that, and we have that in common, and that's why I asked the question. But I know there's, look, we're all human, and we have that moment of time, or those moments of time, like you said, months where you go, what do you want me to do? Like what, like what's this? What's this plan? Right? Like, what did I do? Yeah, because, I mean, we all human. You go, hey man, what did I do wrong to deserve this? Like what's the end state here, man? And I think and I love the fact and I know you had talked about your parents before, but I love the fact where they were the ones there to, kind of guide you, right? And it just is a great, I hate to say a great story because I know it's your life and it's not a film, right? Which I think it could be. But it's amazing, right? And I think I I don't think you give yourself enough credit is what I take away from this. I don't think you give yourself enough credit because what you went through and how you described it, from being in pain, literally losing weight, doctors not believing you, going to fight to get into the medical place that can really diagnose it,
Yeah.
being told, oh, by the way, you have permanent damage, getting the feeding tube, and then having to bring yourself and to say, oh, by the way, this great software job I had to put that on hold. I don't know if that's, who knows what's going to happen. And then to you bring yourself all the way back to the point now where you're living life, been promoted back to the same company and crushing and in a grateful state. I I mean, look, man, I mean, that is something in my book, right? So just from my perspective, I'm telling you, that is a one heck of a ride. And I think, I can take something away from that. For God's sake, I think I need to look at, things and go, man, I should be more grateful. So I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I mean, Dave, I mean, I appreciate you saying that. And like, I mean, I just know it wasn't all me, right? And I've already shouted out like people like my family and
Yeah.
my brothers, hell. I mean, like at the end of
Yep.
the day, like I had a lot of support around me and
Yep.
you know, I I guess you're right. Like I've never really really thought like, wow, like I overcame a lot. Like I think you kind of do, but like I mean, yeah, I think you saying that makes me realize like, man, like I did overcome a lot and like all
Yeah.
glory to God. I mean, it's just, I mean, yeah, my story is, I mean, hopefully it's motivation to someone else.
I
And,
think
and
it's
like Dave, you give me a lot of credit. Like I'm a normal guy. I think the circumstances made me a better person, but I really do believe that anyone can overcome
mhm.
what they're going through because I mean
Yep.
it's all mentality and
Yep.
it's having a good support network and with those
Yep.
things and God it just you just get through it. So I mean yeah,
Yep.
like I guess pat on the back, I got through it, but I had a lot of support helping me too.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. But it starts with you taking that first step forward and then everybody helping you, right? So good for you. All right. We always end this with something. So, like, what do you got, man? The dogs again? Like, how you guys looking? 'Cause I know you're a big UGA, right? I mean, we talked about, you having your like dream jobs of like offensive coordinator for UGA. You're like, all right, maybe. I'm happy Advanta, but maybe. They could, you're in it. But like, what do you think this year? Do you have like, you guys got a team coming up for spring practice and stuff? Like, what's
It's
going on?
always the dogs are always in it. I think we're three right now preseason, but yeah, I think the Georgia team will be good. Gunnar Stockton's coming back. I think the defense will be strong. So like, yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. I don't want to like jinx us and say that we're gonna win it all before the season starts, but like I think this will be a good year. Um, I know Kirby, he's going to get them ready, and I think the dogs are going to execute. And knock on wood, I hope it's a national championship. And if it's not, then I'll be a little bit disappointed for sure. So.
The UGA fans are all the same. UGA fans are like SEC championship. That's great. That's cool and all. We kind of like
No,
that's a given, right? That's a given, right? It's played like, oh, by the way, it's played in your home stadium or like real close, right? Downtown Atlanta, which you can go to now, real quick, right? UGA fans are all the same. Like, give me SEC championship. That's a given, and at least get me to the final game. If not, then you guys
I
grumble,
mean, we made the playoffs last year, and I was pretty upset because we lost to Ole Miss the second time. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, maybe I need to be a little more set expectations
A little
realistic,
grateful,
but
a little
yeah,
grateful,
I,
a little
I,
grateful for your, if you're a college football, right? Little, no, 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 no. Your story hasn't hit the college football ranks. We still win national championships every year. Are you really a Gunnar Stockton believer? You think he's the guy? Like he's your guy?
I mean, like he executed pretty well last year. I mean, like of course there's moments where it's like, man, like why did you do that? But I mean, I don't know, Gunner. If you look at the stats, he's pretty good, and I think he's coming back, and he should only be better. So
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I mean, at the
All
end of the
right,
day,
there you
like
go.
Stetson Bennett, people are like, oh, this guy is there's no way, and then look at what Stetson Bennett did. So talk about overcoming something. I mean,
That is true.
Gunner came in a lot.
Where is Stetson Bennett these days? Where's he at?
Oh man, is he still with the Rams?
I don't even know where he's at. Is he like the backup somewhere?
Yeah, he's the backup. I'm
Dude,
pretty
good
sure
for
he's
him
with
for getting
the
two
Rams.
mil a year for being a backup.
Yeah, he's still at the Rams right
I
now.
need that job. Give me a backup quarterback in the NFL that, maybe a third string, second string. Give me 1.5 a mil a year. I'm good.
You
We're
know
good.
what? I'd maybe consider leaving sales if I could get backup quarterback. Maybe
Maybe.
or kicker or punter. Maybe one of those jobs.
No, dude. No, 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 no. If I shank the ball, you boo me. No, no. We don't need any of that. No, no. Give me the backup QB, for someone who never gets hurt. I'm all in on that, right? So, well, look, man. Uh, Once again, doesn't disappoint. I'm gonna watch it back. I'm probably gonna take more away from this, but I can tell you right now in the moment, it's a great story. I'm just glad we're connected. I'm so happy you're good. I really am. I'm so happy you're good. And shout out again, man. Shout out to your company again, because I swear, awesome. Loved. I mean, they supported you through it, and now you're thriving there. And yeah, couldn't be happier for you and the team Advanta, man.
I appreciate it. No, Dave. I mean, I'm always happy to chat with you. I mean,
Yeah.
we definitely need to catch up again soon. And yeah, I've enjoyed this, man. You're a good dude, man. You're a good dude,
I
Dave.
don't
So,
know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I got my wife. I don't think I did dishes. I got to make sure.
oh
I got
man,
to,
you're a
dude.
bad dude
I,
today. Then you're a bad
Dude,
dude.
hey, I'm like trying to like keep the pipeline straight, and I'm trying to go run it, run for 20 minutes and do the dishes. Like, come on, we all
Tough,
know what
man.
it's like.
No, I need to do my dishes tonight. So I feel you. I got it.
All right. Well, look, everybody, thanks for hanging with us. This one was a good one. This one was a good one. And look, I appreciate everybody. Kyle, thank you again. We will come back next week. We have to go find somebody to talk to, quite honestly, because I'm behind, but we'll find somebody. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
See y'all.